Greetings, music fans. Welcome to Music is a Journey. I'm Peter, and this is the last of the tag slash contest slash thread things that I'm going to be jumping on for this here New Year's season. This actually goes back to December. It was Chris Propfe at his Musically Obsessed channel where he gave us a winter tag to do. And since then, there have just been contests and tags galore. It's been a tag contest thread festa here the last little while. And yeah, this is it. By the way, you might notice a slightly different setup. My camera battery wasn't charged, and I came home from work just now and found that, hey, I've got a chance to do this. So I'm using the old iPhone there. It is an old iPhone, actually. So, yeah, it's winter, and I made a list of stuff, and here we go. So first off, I'm going to show a band called Winter. As far as I remember, they only ever released one album back in the late 80s, early 90s. This band was part of the Long Island scene, if I remember correctly. Now, I talked about them, maybe going back to like 2019 or something like that when I first picked this album up. Basically, if you take your Morbid Tales to Megatherian Celtic Frost and then slow it way down and then give some deeper growly vocals, that's basically what this band sounds like. So that's Winter. Next up, Tiger Moth Tales with an album called The Depths of Winter. So this is a progressive rock one-man act, basically, with guests from the UK, and this is Pete Jones, who, I don't know if he's still doing it now, but a few years back, he was the vocalist and keyboard player in Camel, and actually came to Japan on tour. I have a magazine on the shelf somewhere over there with photographs of Camel's live performance in Japan with photos of Pete Jones there. But he also does Tiger Moth Tales. He has done the lead vocals for the last 2-3 albums in a band called Red Bazaar. I've talked about them before, as well as Colin Tench Project and some other things. He's done guest work in there. Anyway, this is his Depths of Winter album, and first track is called Winter is Coming. And there's just this whole winter theme here. Winter Maker, Exposure, Migration, Sleigh Ride, Tears of Frigga, Hygge, and Winter's End. So yeah, a winter-themed album. Now then, this is I guess they're a neo-prog band. This is a band Mystery from, I believe it's Quebec. And this album here is Beneath the Veil of Winter's Face, going back to somewhere around the mid-2000s. Lead vocalist on here is Benoit David, who later on went to do the lead vocals for Yes for a short period of time, appearing on their Fly From Here album. He was also in a Yes cover band called Close to the Edge, which is how he got spotted and asked then to sing with Yes. He sang on 2 or 3, maybe, Mystery albums before I think he retired from music altogether. But anyway, this is Beneath the Veil of Winter's Face by Mystery. Now, actually, I checked in my iTunes library. I had about 4 or 5 songs simply titled Winter, and one of them is from this Transport Aryan album here called Bleeding. Transport Aryan, I talked about them a couple of times on this channel, even introduced some of their music. Back at this time here, it was basically this fellow here who goes by the name of Hamlet, who was doing most of the stuff on the album. He has since put a band together, and the last album, Skywound, which was out a couple of years back, that is a full-on band, you know. But yeah, that is Transport Aryan from the album Bleeding, and a song simply called Winter. I wanted to mention these guys. I have mentioned them a couple of times before. This is a Canadian band called Moonquake, and I was really surprised to see Bobby Gaylor mention Moonquake. This is a really fun, excellent album, and track 3 is called This Winter. One of my favorite acoustic guitar solo pieces is a piece called Winter Solstice from the Tea Party's first, their major label debut. Actually, their second album, but this album included re-recordings of songs that appeared on their debut. So this is their first major label debut, and Winter Solstice is a beautiful acoustic guitar piece, instrumental piece on here. I love it. Then I'd forgotten about this one. Haven't listened to this album for a while. This is Baroness and their Red album, and there's a song on here called "Wailing Wintry Wind." I remember I really liked this album, so I think it's time I listen to it again. That's Baroness, "Wailing Wintry Wind." And I almost forgot about this one. Autopsy from their, it's called Mental Funeral, right? Mental Funeral album. There's a song on here called In the Grip of Winter. And according to the notes inside, the title In the Grip of Winter was inspired by the Budgie song In the Grip of the Tire Fitter's Hand. So Autopsy, I think, were they from Florida? They were definitely an East Coast American, still are. They had an album out just a year or so ago. Yeah, death doom type band. I really like this album. It has this really loose feel to it, almost like slippery guts spilling out of a corpse type of feel to it. So that's interesting. And then I thought we'd go a little bit non-English here and take a visit to Ningen Isu, one of my favorite Japanese bands. Got their full discography back there. And there's a song on here called Yuki Onna, which means Snow Woman. And I don't know what it's based on. I think there was an old movie called Yuki Onna. And if you can find this, I don't know if it's still on YouTube or not, but somebody made a video of scenes of the movie using this song. I mean, they put scenes of the movie together with this song like that. It's not an official video, so I don't know if it's still out there. And I don't know if Yuki Onna is based on an older movie or a book or whatever, but anyway, Snow Woman, Yuki Onna. And interestingly, the cover photo here was taken at an old rundown shrine in the mountains, not too far from here, probably about an hour's drive from where I am now. But the person who runs the Ningen Isu International Fan Club on Facebook actually drove out to find this place, and she said it was not easy to reach. Still, let's keep it Japanese here a little bit longer. So we're gonna go to Garnet Crow. I'm Waiting for You from their fourth album, way back around mid 2000s somewhere. And there is a song on here. Oh, my eyes are not focusing very well. I do need glasses, seriously. Kono Fuyu no Shirosa. I think if I can see that right there. Kono Fuyu no Shirosa ni. It is track 8, and it means for or to this winter's whiteness, basically. So Fuyu is the Japanese word for winter. So I had to find a Japanese album with a winter in the title, and I was surprised to find there's only that one out of all the Japanese albums I have. And then we're going to make a turn back to Canada, to Quebec, with the band Société de Glace, which means Sorcerer of Ices. And this is a Quebec black metal band, and they have a song on this. This was their self-titled album. There's a song on here, gotta find it now, La Couronne des Mille Hivers. So it's basically, it's the crown of 1,000 winters. Although I later on found out, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly either, but couronne, it sounds an awful lot like crown, doesn't it? And that's because it comes from corona as well, the Latin word corona, which, you know, comes to English as meaning crown, as you can find it in the word coronation. But I also found out there's a type of French bread called couronne. So maybe this could be like that type of bread of 1,000 winters. But no, probably it's the crown of 1,000 winters. So there we go. And here we are up in the northern hemisphere talking about winter and how cold it is. Actually, it's kind of rainy outside right now. It's not all that cold here in Saitama. And, you know, when this happens, there are some people in the vinyl community down in the southern hemisphere going, well, I'm going to the beach in my shorts and I'm going to take a swim in the nice warm sea. I don't know what you northerners are complaining about. So I'm going to throw in a couple of tracks here for those people down under. And this here is the Northern Pikes, a Canadian band from Saskatchewan, and an album called Snow in June. Thinking of you down there. I think it's a particular fella down there, Mr. Ben Rankins, but not just him. Anyone else in the Southern Hemisphere, Snow in June. And if you're thinking, what are you talking about, snow in June? It doesn't snow that early around here where I live. Well, then we're going to take a visit to Deep Purple's third album for the track called Blind, the second track on here. And there are some lines that go, it started to snow in the middle of July. Wonder why, sang Rod Evans. So there you go. Started to snow in the middle of July. Is that good enough for you? Okay, and that is my contribution to Chris Propfe's winter thread tag thingy. Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone. Catch you in another video. Bye.